And according to Reuters, 15 people were recently killed by an airstrike by the Saudi-led coalition in northern Yemen. This is according to people who live in that area. They said this aircraft had hit 2 cars that were transporting passengers and a truck on a main road south of the provincial capital. They said that 15 people were killed while several other people were wounded. They also said that the explosions damaged the main road, linking the capital and the northern province, where the Houthi tribe controls much of northern Yemen. So now the coalition, which includes Saudi Arabia, of course, they have intervened in Yemen in 2015 against the Houthis. Now, the Houthis are friends of Iran. Now, Iran isn't exactly our friends. I think that's fairly obvious. They have a fundamentalist-controlled government. But Saudi Arabia also has a fundamentalist-controlled monarchy. So here we are getting in the middle of a conflict between 2 different sects of religious fundamentalists. Wonderful. Great. Now, the Houthis, of course, ousted the government of President Abd Rabbu Mansur Hadi. And so apparently that's why Saudi Arabia does not like them, because they want to have more power in the region. And, of course, since we're allies of Saudi Arabia, now we're involved. So now they said, the coalition, they said, oh, well, we don't kill civilians in our strikes. We got to make sure. Now, whenever they say, a government says, oh, don't worry, we made sure not to kill civilians, odds are they have killed civilians. Unfortunately, according to Reuters, coalition airstrikes have struck civilian targets while trying to target Houthi forces in the past 3 years. Now, the reason that this is important, the reason that I want to bring this up, not only because somebody in the audience had suggested it, as a reminder that, yes, we are at war. We are at war. We are still at war in different places. We are helping fundamentalist governments in different places bomb people. Yes, we don't necessarily agree with the Houthis, but fuck, man, we're bombing people. And why? Why are we doing so? And not only that, but look, we're talking about this because we're the ones that are supplying Saudi weapons. So we're selling weapons to Saudi Arabia, and these are their weapons that are going to kill civilians. In fact, look at the stat. The war in Yemen so far has killed 10,000 people and displaced more than 2 million, and now the country, thanks to the conflict, is on the verge of famine. Oh, but hey, look, we got to help our Saudi Arabian allies. Look, why are we involved? We got to get out of there. And let me tell you the reason why we're not, why we are involved. Actually, there are a couple of reasons. For one, cheap oil. We have an arrangement with the Saudi Arabian government to arm them in exchange for cheap oil. That's why they're our allies. They'll sell us cheap oil. And that's it. I mean, again, that's one of them, right? One of the reasons. The other reason is defense contractors. They want to sell weapons. They want to sell arms. And so Saudi Arabia wants to buy our weapons, wants to buy our arms, so they can go and bomb Houthis. That's money for our defense contractors. So cheap oil, defense contractors. Yeah, but Jeff, the Iranians they're terrible. They're bad people, and Saudi Arabia's against the Iranians. So we gotta help them. Well, the thing is, look, we shouldn't get involved in those different sectarian conflicts. And on the Iran issue, look, yes, Iran is dangerous. They're a fundamentalist government. They oppress their own people. It's all incredibly terrible. But Saudi Arabia does the same thing. They also oppress their people. They barely just started letting their women drive. They also behead people for witchcraft. They whip and kill journalists. Come on, dude. There ain't no good guys in this story. And we're especially not good guys because we're arming other bad guys. So, but again, we're there. We're there not because of, oh, well, we need to protect our interests, spread democracy. Yes, we're protecting our interests. Our interests are oil. And that's it. Oil and regional alliances. We want to get an advantage against potential enemies in the Middle East. So that's what we're doing here. But look, I don't want to be there, especially for the oil. And there's ways where there is a way where we don't have to do stuff like this. And it's called getting off oil. We don't need their oil. We can go to alternative energy. We can completely change our energy infrastructure to solar and wind and geothermal. And then guess what? We wouldn't have to get involved in these conflicts. We wouldn't have to overthrow leaders or give horrible countries like Saudi Arabia weapons in exchange for access to cheap oil. Wouldn't that be an amazing thing? We could actually rely on the sun and the wind and geothermal energy geothermal for our energy. Things that don't actually run out. And we could stop aiding governments or killing people ourselves with our own weapons for access to these resources. But of course, fossil fuel companies, defense contractors, and corrupt governments in the Middle East, they don't want us to do that. They want us to be involved because we're the biggest arms supplier in the entire fucking world. Our government's controlled by neoconservatives and oil interests. And they both use the same thing to get what they want. Endless war for money, whether it be endless war to feed the military-industrial complex, as we do, or endless war to free up resources that private corporations can scoop up and sell for profit. That's what's going on here. That's why we're there. And unfortunately, that is why we're never going to leave. It doesn't matter how many innocent civilians are killed in these different countries or how many governments we destabilize or how many strongman governments we put into power. We're going to be there because guess what? It's all about the money. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.